In his third opportunity at becoming a world champion, Jason Moloney finally got it done this past weekend against
Oh yeah.
Vincent Astrolabio at bantamweight. Was a really good fight, honestly. Moloney, we all heard, broke his hand early on in the fight, but was a dog and kind of fought through it throughout the entire fight. Looked really good. But before we get into it, welcome back to All It Takes No Whiffs. I'm Alex, and that's Christian, and I'm really looking forward to getting more into this fight.
Oh yeah. Overall, in my opinion, an entertaining fight. I know some people didn't feel the same way.
The fans didn't.
The fans there definitely didn't. Yeah, they were definitely letting their booze off. But also fans of Astrolabio, they weren't a fan of Maloney's approach to the fight, which was the more technical and more just boxing type. And obviously, that worked wonders for Maloney. Even though if you want to look at these scorecards and I can't rock with the 114, 114. I don't agree with the 115, 113. Personally, I think 116, 112 is fair, but
I
uh,
still think that's a little low
yeah,
or
you
close,
can
I
make
mean.
that's an argument as well. But Maloney clearly won this fight, in my opinion. Labio didn't really get much going, even though you could make it the argument he was the aggressor. I don't agree that he was because he was just kind of stuck in the center of the ring. Didn't really seem like he was pushing the action. Maloney had him moving in circles the whole time. Maloney was working off of a really crisp jab, as Alex mentioned,
Oh, yeah.
broken early in the fight. But even then, he was able to utilize that right hand, I feel like, to just get some clean shots in. And he the thing with Maloney, obviously he had the boxer approach. People were claiming that he was running. He was not running. He was just moving on his feet a lot. Like he was moving forward. He was moving backwards. Like he was staying in the pocket with Astrolabio on plenty of occasions. And honestly, I think his key to winning this fight was the fact that he outsped him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and Vincent Astrolabio was very one-dimensional this entire fight. There's literally one thing he was trying to do this entire fight, and that was land that right uppercut. He almost landed it one time, but it was at the end of the fight. There was a couple times he maybe grazed him, but I mean, that was literally the only thing he was trying to do, and Maloney figured that out pretty quick. Once he figured out how to avoid it, I mean, it really wasn't much Astrolabio could do. But really, I mean, other than that, Astrolabio didn't really do too much in this fight. I mean, like you said, he just kind of stood there in the middle of the ring, and Maloney kind of just danced around him, and
Mm-hmm.
he really just did everything right in this fight. And even in the beginning of the fight, his trainer, I remember the announcer saying that all they wanted him to do was lead with that jab and not to try and reach, not to try and get risky or anything, but he was controlling that fight with the jab the entire fight.
Yeah, honestly, he was just the better fighter when it came to ring generalship, the boxing ability, speed. Obviously, power was in Astrolabio's favor, but he wasn't able to utilize it enough, or else Maloney would have been hurt more often. I think he caught Maloney at times in this fight, but nothing that really of concern for Maloney. I mean, he was able to push through it and get back on his game plan with no hesitation whenever he did get caught. But overall, it was a really good performance from Jason Moloney. I know I sounded off on him a couple of times. It's just how much light work Inoue made him. I wasn't too high on Moloney, but he boxed a good fight in this fight for sure. And as for what's next for Jason Moloney, to be honest, the only couple of things I could think of for a new opponent would be Emmanuel Rodriguez. He's a big name in the bantamweight division. I would like to be more familiar before I give my any sort of have any prediction on that fight, but he's a top name in bantamweight, so that'd be nice. And honestly, with how this fight, I don't feel like it was a complete domination. I think with Astrolabio having his moments, I think he could be capable in a rematch. So I think a rematch with Astrolabio could be another option too.
Yeah, I think those are two good guys that you put right there. I think a rematch right here and Emmanuel Rodriguez would be pretty good. Gary Russell maybe, but I know that he's kind of making
Mhm.
his way back. But I think those two guys are possibilities. And I mean, if the New Way ever came back down or Maloney wanted to ever fight him again,
Vacate.
there's that opportunity too, maybe. But I don't know if Maloney wants to see a New Way after getting knocked out by him.
No, he probably got nightmares over Inoue, even after winning a world title. But no, all respect to Maloney finally becoming a world champion after 3 attempts, as Alex said. But before we move on to what else happened on this card, shout out to Hardcode in the YouTube comment section. Got his prediction right, just like me. Maloney for the decision. And if you guys want to get featured in a video with a shout out, go ahead and leave your predictions on any fights that we are covering upcoming. And if you get it right, we're we're gonna let you guys know. But as for what else happened on this card, Janabek Aleem Kanuli with the dominant second round KO over Stephen Butler, kind of as expected. We kind of said it last week. Stephen Butler not very highly rated at all. This was easy work for Janabek. And as for what's next for Janabek, honestly, I just want to see him with the top middleweight, whether it's Triple G before he sends off into retirement. That'd be a pretty dope fight, actually, thinking about it. Both of them being from Kazakhstan, the biggest name in Kazakhstan boxing history against the future, maybe. That'd be sick. But also, I think Jamal Charlo would be a good name if Jamal
Hmm.
Charlo would go down. Like, if he didn't pursue Canelo at 168 and went back down to 160, this would be a good name as well. Honestly, the younger Charlo, if he were to want to move up, I think this would be a good opportunity for him, like just right off the bat. And he would be able to, being undisputed at 154. He could just take that I forget what that clause is called, but like if he wants to move up, he could get that challenge right away. So I think there's options for Janabek. The only thing is, I think you could kind of make the argument he's avoided. Not saying
He's
he
one of the biggest names being avoided right now, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's being avoided for reasons that like he's like that dominant of a fighter. I'm not trying to gas him up like that, but like it might not make the most sense for some of these bigger name fighters. There is risk to fighting him, and they're probably not going to get the biggest of draws having a fight with him. Which I don't know. I feel certain ways about that because it's like it kind of gets in the way of like the best fighting the best at the end of the day. But you understand too, like these fighters get in the ring for money. John Beck ain't bringing the paper for some of
And to
these
not
guys.
lose.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's one of the flaws, like for sure. Like if some of these guys are trying to protect their O's, and regardless, though, I want to see John Beck get in the ring because I want to see him against top competition. He deserves it without a doubt. He's he's very talented, but I think he could honestly play his part as well. I think a little bit in getting his name out there. Try to do something about that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just want to see him in the ring with some better competition. He hasn't fought like the highest competitive opponents right now, so honestly, just want to see him in the ring with some better guys. Steven Butler, pretty much a journeyman. Guys on the later end of his career, pretty good
Yeah.
veteran. Has had a lot of fights, but I mean, Janabek is 10 times better than him. So let's get him in the ring with some better names. But like we said in our preview, Andrew Moloney, Jason Moloney's brother, will be fighting this upcoming weekend on the Devin Haney Lomachenko undercard. We'll be previewing that, so make sure you stick tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, so you know when that video is going to be dropping.
Yeah, really looking forward to that card next weekend. But until then, peace.
Peace.